Hi friends, this is Naren R from Naren's Wisdom Talk. So we are meeting after a long time, after a long hiatus. So last two episode we had been speaking about or analyzing the importance of Gita, what Gita is, and we made a two-part series in which 18 chapters and their most important mantras and most important meanings of that of these mantras were discussed and analyzed. And today we are going to analyze it as it is a timeless wisdom. Today's relevance, where these all fit into today's scenario. Oh, if we look at today's scenario, one of the most striking thing you find is the uh, disservice to the humanity by the leadership or the person in service oriented, meaning political class. So, karmanyavadika paleshu kadachana, as I told, um, is one of the best examples. This is karma without attachment or result. So, result will fall when the process is in correct, mannerly ordered if it is executed. But today's political class has shown some profanity, meaning they don't have that service mind in their mindset, and they are looking after the perennial benefit which they may get, or their close associates, or their say party in this scenario, whichever party they are belonging may get, or the immediate family, so on and so forth. So this has become the trademark of the political class. Same with electorate, which goes on by simple populism and some type of jargons without a critical thinking or analysis. These are what Bhagavad Gita wades into. So it says there are three gates of hell: lust, greed, and ignorance. And it also emphasizes in chapter 10 that verse 20 that see all things, see all beings as equal. Where we have divisive world today based on religion, race, creed, gender, whatever, so on and so forth. Anything is divisive today and taken into uh, a kind of a uh, profitability for the political class. And these are the things which we need to adhere to in today's world, where the principles are just thrown in air. We don't have any sense of um, service, and we don't have sense of the generation which is coming and previous generation, and generally in a political class you don't see the responsibility which they have been entrusted upon by the people. So in a democracy, for example, you find vote bank politics, you find jargons, you find populism instead of, even if you bring meritocracy in political landscape to say. So Bhagavad Gita tells you how to control your mind or regulate your mind so as to you can uh, get rid of all that, elevate your mind as the important what do you say, the instrument of your knowledge, and elevate it and give it a certain direction. And to the uh, mundane persons, how to deal with failure and success, how to see success, quote unquote, and failure in equanimity. So the one, Lord Krishna says in a chapter that one who is a yogi, I mean, you need not be the high level of yogi, but how to cultivate a mind where you can see a success and a failure, how to navigate through it. What are the possibilities? Keep your mind in a steady steadfastness. Don't think X is a failure, or Y is, if I do X is a failure, if I do Y, if it doesn't materialize, it becomes a I mean, if it is a success, or if you do Y, material. If we didn't materialize, it will fall into the category of failure. So success and failure are the part and parcel of the game you play. If you are into the transactional mode of it things, as it were, in a, as you say in a spiritual parlance, it is a materialistic way. If you are in a transactional mode, you are bound to face expense losses, incur losses and profit. But if you are only incurring losses or something like that, you go into the depressive mode. So Gita beautifully channelizes this by telling anything is not in the world which you have put in the effort. Whatever effort you have put in a right direction with the right mind, that is actually not going to go wasted. And it also, if you want, in a other way, it also emphasizes that it gives us a direction that better to do one's own duty perfectly to copy others' duty. Better to do one's own duty, whether perfectly or imperfectly, than to copy others' duty and do it maybe perfectly. So what does this means is, do not try to emulate anybody. You have to choose your own path according to your character, nature, capability. Don't try to emulate. It may end up in some other um, disastrous mode. It may cause in a serious bit of chain of reactions which you will not be very ready to endure. So these are the some of the wisdom that Bhagavad Gita gives in. Then it gives in stillness of mind, how to achieve the stillness of mind through keeping your concentration, and it talks about yoga. There is a bit of Patanjali's yoga sutras, how your mind can be regulated in a way that your mind is very still. Mind, according to Krishna, is very really difficult to control, but with steadfast and with solitude, where you can sit and we can focus between the eyebrow and your body straight. And he also emphasizes on the moderation of food habits and other things, like excessive sleeping, excessive non-sleeping. These are all to be avoided. There should be a moderation in everything. So these are the Gita navigates us to the spiritual treasure, and this has become a basis for commentaries of many acharyas and many pandits, many interpretations of various acharyas, gurus, rishis, name it. This has been the book, go to book. Although you have Upanishads, but this is one of the stars of the interpretation of Vedantas, one of the Vedantas. It gives of yogas, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, all three yogas through which you can achieve your both material and ultimate reality, spiritual goals. What are the material goals you can achieve through the equanimity of mind, peace of mind, not seeing the losses, taking it into your head to overtly, and to balance it out in a way that you can be efficient in your work process, and also in your family life. Anxiety, depression, and Krishna says when depression comes, anxiety leads to depression. Depression will make a man, uh, it destroys him. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So this leads to this, leads to this. So what is the psychological impact of human beings on anxiety or anger on excessive level due to the uh, what you call as not accruing the benefits that they were expecting? A person, like Buddha said here also, when you don't get something, just like a child, if he does not get a toy, it becomes very adamant. So a grown-up human being has his own goals, and he goes on to behave in a certain pattern which is not desirable for him and surrounding of him, the people surrounding him also. And he becomes, and what you think you become, that is what Lord Krishna also says. That is Krishna's saying in Bhagavad Gita: what you think you become. If you think you are a failure, you become a failure. If you think you are a success, you will reach that point, whatever your measurement of success is. If your measurement is impractical, you cannot reach success to that level. You have to set a practical goal in your life based on your capability. It's not that I'm not saying that you cannot set a high standard or something like that. You can go by step. So similarly in failure, you can see many things in a failure part also. So Krishna explores all this in Bhagavad Gita, and wider Upanishads you can see many other teachings in regarding Katha Upanishad and all. So regarding Atman, there are many interpretations by Adi Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, that soul, regarding soul and connectivity to the universal self, and it is whether the entire manifestation is Maya or just it's not a realistic one as um, Shankaracharya proposed in monism, or in Dvaita, which is just a Shishta Advaita, which is proposed by Ramanujacharya. They all interpreted something very similar in a different manner, but it is up to the spiritual experts to gauge what they get out of this. As per my saying, that we are just a part and parcel of the ultimate reality. That's what I get infer from what Lord Krishna says in Gita. That's all these acharyas say in their own commentaries and bhashyas. That profanity and divisiveness have always been around us, and it is increasing day by day in its nature. As Krishna says, the karma will take its own effect. So we will see about that. That is not in our hand. But what is in our hand is to build a society as per the Gita's directive, which is written by great Rishi Vedavyas. Rishis foresaw all the great, what do you call, the historical and future prophesized future problems, and the threading of the way which man needs to do, and balancing act which a society or a man in a society has to do in order to achieve a greatness, or simply thread through the normal mundane life in a smoother way. Gita has given examples and given the quotation as if it were from Lord Krishna, the God, Lord of all gods himself. And various great rishis have interpreted it and given us in its unique way, in their own way, possible way, the answers how a society needs to function, how a leadership needs to function, how a family unit needs to function for a proper smooth way, in a correct way, in a correct right direction, and how an individual needs to cope up, because everything starts from individual's mind. Yatha pindandam tata brahmandam. As is in microcosm, so is in macrocosm. So these are the words, wise words, which we needs to, and younger generation should cultivate the habit of morality, of non-hurting of others, how to navigate through their complex student life or whatever they are doing, and balance it with their mind and their what you call, not behavior, but the way they tend to act in a society, because they are the growing generation, the future generations. They are the future generation of the planet. So this generation needs to cultivate a certain kind of attitude and qualities which will nurture and which can make planet a better place than the previous generations. They cannot take only the help of AI. They simply need to go and read the book called Bhagavad Gita and such books which give immense wisdom, not just by browsing or going into some net or Netflix or Facebook. All these are other things you can do, but the main part of it is your responsibility to yourself, to responsibility to your family, and to the nation and the whole world. If you are spiritually inclined, how you have to go about? You have to inculcate a spiritual awareness or conscious awareness of yourself so that you can balance yourself with the needs of the society and the pressures and compulsiveness, and you, so that you do not buckle into that or just get grasped into that, sucked into that, and become either arrogant or depressed. Either of the side you will finish in a deadly way, or in a very, at least in a pathetic or destructive way. Your life will be completely destroyed in either way. Either you failure, you are very depressed, or you have become and success has gone into your head and you become very totally complacent and you become arrogant. You look down upon others. These are the things you need to transcend. It need not permeate your mind. You need to transcend all these dualities of life, whether you are in one place or other place. If you think you have got 99 marks percentage in a IIT exam, and you are some MD of some company and you are doing very well, it doesn't mean that you are in a Andromeda. You have to be so much down to earth to keep that going. Otherwise, the karma itself, the nature itself will kind of punish you or give it back to you. So today we are finding oligarchy, political oligarchy, propping up, whether it is dictators or whether it is so-called democratically elected leaders. These kind of attitudes which grew up made it possible for this generation, for oligarchies, for the few wealthies to control entire planet's 60-70% of the wealth, more than that, and the rest are just slogging it out for paycheck to paycheck, or some of the countries are living in a desperate situations. These are what Bhagavad Gita says is not a wise thing to do for a ruler. Or Mahabharata, if you take, it gives you an example of like Yudhishthira, the Dharmaraj, how he acts in the time of being cornered by the evil Duryodhana and his brothers. How when he was subjugated to the immense cruelty or taking down and throwing out in exile, then also he acted in a certain way. So that keeps you as a man. When you lose character, you lose your balance of mental balance or equanimity, as we say, then you lose everything. When you lose wealth, either you can regenerate or you can go into other path. But you lose two things, your character or your health, then you are in a trouble. So wealth cannot buy sleep. Wealth cannot buy you health. Wealth can only sustain you. If you think more of a wealth or greed or lust, which is the gate of hell, as Bhagavad Gita says, you will be in a trouble. You are going in a wrong direction. Finally, we have come to a conclusion. Wait, I'll let you go. Before I conclude this, I want to say humanity should abandon all kind of animosities within itself, all divisions, as I said before. So Lord Krishna says into this effect, as it is written nearly 1,000 years before any advent of other modern religions, so-called Abrahamic religion, which came later. uh, he says in 18th chapter, Sarvadharman parityagyam mamekam sharanam raja ahantvaya sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami masuja. Meaning, abandoning variety of worship practices or methods. If you are purely confused or very perplexed, you can come and surrender unto me in absoluteness, in any form, in any divine form. So, this is written long back, and it is Vakya of Krishna. So, at the end of this Gita, it says, Yatra Krishno Yogeshwaraha, Yatra Partho Dhanudraha, Tatra Shir Vijay Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Where there is Lord Krishna, the Lord of Yogis, where there is Arjuna, wielder of bows, there is bound to be victory, auspiciousness, and you will get the liberation if you think of this holy book. This is the ending part of it. So, this concludes our Bhagavad Gita analysis. So, this book, this thought is beneficial to humanity, as it were, throughout the time. It is a timeless wisdom which humans needs to follow if they have to lead a complete fulfillment of their life. If they miss something, that this is it, they have to acquire some knowledge of self-inquisition, that is betterment of individual, family, society, nation and world at large. With that, namaskar.